Hey y'all, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Katrina and this is today I'm doing the Are You Like Jane Austen tag. I think that's the name. Yeah, Are You Like Jane Austen tag. And there are 10 questions and you get points based on your answers, and then you add them up and it tells you whether or not you're like Jane Austen or not. So I thought this was interesting. I like everybody else's answers, and it makes you think a little bit differently about yourself and all that kind of stuff. And it's not, it's kind of like, it's kind of about books, obviously, because Jane Austen was a writer, but it's a little bit different, so we get to know each other in this community a little bit better. This one and the your answers can't be books tag, I'm going to do that one too, because I like getting to know the people here on book 2. So the first question is, or the first prompt is, Jane Austen was an artist and writer. Give yourself a point if you're an artist. Give yourself an extra point if you are a writer. I'm a crafter. I'm not sure if that's considered an artist, so I gave myself a point for this because I like all manners of like paper crafts, and I would do paintings that I would put up in my home. I would never like sell them or anything like that, but I would do like abstract, big old abstract art. Or like I had, when I lived in Texas, I made like this big, I had a big piece of canvas, and I took different tissue papers and I put them on there, and it was a cool like modern art thing. So I do consider myself crafty in that sense. So yes, I give myself a point for that. Number 2, Austen was born to a large family. She had a total of 7 siblings, 1 sister and 6 brothers. Give yourself a point if you have 3 or more siblings. I have 3 siblings. I'm the oldest of 4 kids. Four, dark humor is weaved throughout Austen's writing. Give yourself a point if you have a grim sense of humor. You must share a dark joke in order to get this point. So I have a dark sense of humor by 2 ways. I think as a whole, the African American community has a dark sense of humor just because of the things that we've gone through, and we will laugh through anything. Also, this day and age, I think, lends itself to grim, dark humor. And I see people all the time on Twitter say, literally an asteroid could be on its way to the earth, and we're gonna be laughing on Twitter about it. And that's true. And also, just growing up in the kind of home that I was neglected and had a really bad childhood, but we dealt with that. The 4 of us dealt with that with a crazy sense of humor. Now, 2 of us had, 2 of the kids had, like the 2 middle ones are the ones who tell the jokes and did the skits. And then myself and the youngest, we appreciate it and we like laugh at everything. Like, we have a sense of humor in that sense. My husband can tell jokes all the time. Like, I don't understand how he can keep this reservoir of jokes in his head. I can't remember a joke. I can't tell them. So that I can't get that point. I have a sense of humor. I have a dark sense of humor, but I can't tell jokes. So those are 2 different things. Prompt 5, Jane broke off 2 engagements and died a spinster. Give yourself a point if you're single. I'm not single. I am twice married and once divorced. Prompt 6, Austen experienced low periods or spells of depression. Give yourself a point if you have struggled with mental illness. Yes, I am bipolar and I have an anxiety disorder, so I get a point. 7, Jane moved away from her childhood home in her 20s. Give yourself a point if you lived away from your childhood hometown or region. I was born and raised in Chicago land. I was born in Chicago, and then I think 1st or 2nd grade we went to the suburbs of Chicago, and that's where I lived until I turned 18, and I fled and have never looked back. I have lived in Asia, in Europe. I've lived in Texas. I've lived in Louisiana, but the majority of my adulthood has been in Colorado. 8. Jane was not vain. Give yourself a point if you have very little interest in vanity. Now, when I was watching this, my husband and I actually, we were watching someone's video and we actually looked up. So my husband was like, no, you're not vain. And I wanted to look up what is the definition of vain. And vain means having or showing an excessively high opinion of one's appearance, abilities, or worth. And that is not me. I know where I sit in in anything. Like, I know where I am intellectually. I know where I am, when it comes to our society's standard of attractiveness, being dark skinned, big nose, big lips, fat, just black. I am not vain. I enjoy putting on makeup. It helps me actually with depression. It's the one time I get to dress up because I'm a stay-at-home mom. And, when I get on here, I love doing my makeup and putting on a big old wig or something like that because I enjoy that. And I like to present myself the best I can. And even before I got into makeup and like wigs and all that kind of stuff, being kempt is what I am. We looked that up. My husband was like, you're not unkempt. And he was like, is kempt a word? And I was like, let's look it up. And we did. And that's what I am. I am kempt. So kempt is a person who is maintained in a neat and clean condition and well cared for. So I'm kempt. And I was that way even before, like I said, I got into medicine. Before I got into makeup and hair and all that kind of stuff, I still, and when I was very much so trying to kind of disappear into the background and things like that, I kept myself very neat, even though I wore like all black or like khaki. My hair stayed in a bun. I just kept myself very kempt because I was very aware of how people look at people. Like I at the time bought into, if I just look a certain way or present myself a certain way, I won't be judged negatively. I'm totally over that now. Black people are going to be judged, Hispanic people, whatever. You're going to be judged by people who want to judge you no matter what. So live your life. So I am not vain. And so I gave myself a point for that, even though it may seem like I'm vain because I like nails and jewelry and hair. I'm kempt and I enjoy this more so as a creative outlet. And hair goes into the next prompt, which is hair was of little concern to Austen. Give yourself a point if you cannot be bothered with your hair. I can't give myself a point with that because hair is super, super, super important with African Americans, especially African Americans. That's Africans, like even people who get to live within their own community, the different ways that they braid and all that kind of stuff, it all has cultural meaning. And we've kept that even here because, slaves would braid maps into their hair and rice into their hair so that when they would, run away or something, they would make sure that, the kids had food or whatever. And, hair has been used as a weapon against us. Our hair, the way it grows out of our head, is considered unkempt and unprofessional and things like that. And because of that, we have taken to doing all kinds of things to express ourselves and to fit into the general society. And just because of black cool and all that kind of stuff, we've also taken that and made it something totally new, and it has expressed itself politically, with the Black is beautiful kind of thing going on in the 60s and 70s. And then we went back to kind of relaxing our hair and straightening our hair. And now, probably 10 years ago, we had a resurgence in the natural hair movement. And now I honestly see most people with their hair natural. Just around me, anecdotally, I see more Black people with their hair natural. And so, like, my hair is natural. I'm growing back. I used to have locks or with dreadlocks, and I cut them off. I was tired of them for a while, and I'm growing them back right now. And in the meantime, I'm just enjoying having wigs because I don't, I, I don't know. I do have a care about how I look with my dreads being short. And the first time I did extensions, this time I said I wasn't going to do extensions, but I think I'm going to cave and do extensions because I gave away the majority of my wigs. I kept my favorite ones, but once they're kind of used up, I think I'm going to go ahead and do my extensions and wear my dreads. So I can't get a point for that. Long way around to that answer. 10. Austen expressed her distaste for hot weather. Give yourself a point if you dislike the heat. If I could give myself 1,000,000 points for this, I would. So I think about leaving this country so many times, right? But all the places I want to go are cold, and none of those places are easy to immigrate to. A lot of the places where it's easy for us to immigrate to are tropical climates and hot climates, and it is so distressing to me. I am just constantly frustrated that we are in Louisiana right now. That's where my husband has to work and blah blah blah. I miss the semi-arid dryness and the four seasons and everything of Colorado. I am not made for heat. So Jane and I are on point with that. So that gives me 7. Of the, I guess, 11 points that you could have made. I think that's pretty cool. So let me know if you've done this tag, and so I can come over and see your video. If you haven't done it, consider yourself tagged. I will put the originator of this tag down in the comment box. I will also put the prompts down there. Please use this emoji for engagement if you don't have any answers to any questions or any comments to make. But otherwise, let's talk down in the comment box about Jane Austen, hair, vanity versus kempness, heat versus cold, and all that jazz. Be easy on yourself, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.